This is the video review for Transformers Prime Deluxe Class Seargent Kup. Well, here is Seargent Kup. He is, I'm going to say this, it's a repaint. Although it is the first time that we have technically seen this figure in America, I'm going to call him a repaint because this figure was meant to be Ironhide. It was released overseas by Takara as Ironhide, and they might be getting a Kup, but they haven't announced anything yet as far as I know. But over here in America, we've gotten one release of this figure, and it's as Seargent Kup. Which, don't get me wrong, it's not a terrible Kup, it's just not a good one. Or it's not a terrific one, because he's got the Ironhide-esque guns. You know, he has a lot of things that are normal for Ironhide. And, you know, and as much as I like Kup, don't get me wrong, this is a fantastic mold, as much as some people don't like it. I think it would have done better here as Ironhide. And even in Walmart's computers and in the original case assortment, it was labeled as Ironhide. So I don't know what happened, but I'm fine with it because I've always, you know, I do like the fact that they're starting to get back to some of the other G1 names. So here is Kup. Size comparison wise, I don't know if I have any. Yeah, I have one. I have here's a Prime Hotshot. As you can see, Hotshot is a teensy bit bigger in width-wise and length-wise. And that's it for vehicle mode comparisons. But so overall, he is a green truck, green pickup truck. That does his cannons do again an Ironhide reference. Being movie Ironhide reference, mostly. They do peg in to little pegs into what become his feet, back there. And you can also, I forget what weapon it was, but there's a couple weapons that, or it's AM20's AM20 Ironhide's weapons. The Takara version, you can plug them in somewhat into where the peg where the joint is, but it doesn't stay in there nearly as tight. But it doesn't, you can't fit them into these pegs. But and it's been well known also that this figure is, a lot of people know people are gonna use this figure for Ironhide. That when Repro labels made the sticker set for this, the body stickers were for Kup, but the cannon stickers made it in Ironhide's colors. So, you know, you can do whatever you want with it. I'm gonna keep this guy as Kup, and still I'm gonna buy the Repro label set. I'm actually gonna buy it within 5 minutes after this review. And you know, sticker this guy up. So, he does roll very well. And like I said, his cannons can pop off if you don't yank them back, you know, like that. But yeah, so transformation-wise, what you want to do first is you want to pop off the guns. And as you can see now, he is a nice two-tone green truck with some silver detailing. So, and I know I started the transformation, but the only problem that I have with the vehicle mode is that these hide this very well and very sneakily, but it's still, this area is hollow. You know, hello, there's my finger on the other side. It turns out to be his legs, and I can see why Hasbro went through with this, because if they got a panel here or something, put a panel over top here, and had like peg holes for the weapons in there, then, you know, they'd have to find, that would add a lot of things to it, and then probably either add more backpack here, or add some kibble to the legs, and they are perfectly fine in robot mode as kibble free, and if you have problems with the vehicle mode, but no problems with the robot mode, you just kind of deal with it. So, then you want to, but back to the transformation, you want to pull these down, pull what will be the feet down like that, and you want to separate the front here and just leave it like this for the moment, and then that reveals what his hands will be. Separate like this. Then you can see his windshield is always under here, but that's not a huge issue. Then you want to take these pieces, just rotate them around. Oops. Then they kind of fit snug in there. Rotate them around like so. Fit nice and snug. Then you want to come back here, and you can just have the legs like this, you know, at this length, but what you're supposed to do is take this piece Oh, well, it's actually, you're not supposed to do that yet. Never mind. You want to fold this piece up, and then come back here, which that piece will reveal his head. Then you want to come down here. It can be quite tight, but you just fold that. The pieces up here, you fold it down. That gives him, instead of having his hips being up here, they're down here. It makes him taller, obviously. It gives the figure some height. Then you want to flatten out the feet, get him standing. Because sometimes these ball joints on the feet, I'm not complaining that they're tight, it just makes it a little difficult at times to get him to be both on the right feet at the same time, you know, at the right position of his feet. Then you want to have the wheel be on the back here. I'm going to fold this piece back. You want to take these little pieces, fold them all the way out, like so. Then, stupid ball joints, feet, there we go. Want to come up here. You want to take this piece and separate it from this piece. Then you want to take this piece and it just snaps in there nice and tight, and fold this up against this back. And this is what the official... Oh, and you want to fold the arms up in there. And this is what the official transformation says to leave it as, with this big piece of the truck just sitting there. And if you want to make him a tiny bit of a parts former, but you're obviously, it's not considering really a parts former because there's not parts that you don't use. But if you want a very simple thing can fix this. You just pop this off, and it's a good enough joint that it's not going to even, unless you do it at least 100,000 times, it is not going to even start to develop stress marks. So then you just put it on the other way, and it folds up very nice and flush. Like, oh look, it might have been made to do that, but they just didn't do it. It folds up very nice and flush on the back. And there is Kup. Now you give him his weapons, and my only complaint about these weapons is for some reason, I've tried it on both of them. It doesn't matter which one I use, that this arm this peg is looser than the other one. I don't know why it is that way, but I guess it's just a tiny bit of a quality control problem. So, but here's Kup. He still obviously he has his even looks more like Ironhide in this robot mode. The head reminds me of Ironhide as well. See, it's got the face plate, and you know, this figure really reminds me of an Ironhide, but I still like it as being Kup, because Ironhide and Kup, you know, are both, except in Generation 1, but you know, they've always been kind of thought of as, you know, trucks, you know, these, you know, different types of trucks, except for G1, like Ironhide and Kup were different. Ironhide was more of an SUV van, and Kup was obviously himself in his truck. So, size comparison wise, I have a couple figures from the Prime line. First edition, Cliff Jumper. And Cliff Jumper, sorry, I gotta fix this. Okay. Cliff Jumper is just a smidge taller because of his horns. I have three, well, okay, well I'll pull out a couple. I have Prime Thundertron, which, as you can see, is being a Voyager and being not even twice the price anymore, barely $5 over the price anymore, because this is $15, this is $20. I find that funny that they've raised the prices of deluxes so much that you get this for $5 less than you can get this. But as you can see, he's much smaller. And then going first edition style, again, first edition Voyager Optimus, which it just towers over Bulkhead, or not Bulk, I just said Bulkhead, Kup, which is very, very accurate, because Kup is supposed to be quite a bit smaller than Optimus. So, but, so that was actually quite accurate. You can see in robot mode, oops, see, the gun the gun just barely, it stays in there, but see, it just comes right out. And the other one doesn't do that. I mean, it's loose, but it's not nearly as bad. It actually, you know, you can feel it staying in there. But being in robot mode, it does break up quite a bit of all that green that we saw in vehicle mode. Obviously the green is still there, but he has, you know, a lot of black thrown in there. I know my lighting is somewhat off. I'm just trying to get extra light in here by actually using a regular light, because a lot of the natural light I try to use, a lot of the natural light I try to use is not working today because it's cloudy and snowing outside. So I apologize for if the lighting is crappier than usual. So, you know, it breaks up a lot of that green, and he's got a gold Autobot symbol right there. Yep, there it is. He's got a nice green face, you know, with silver on the eyes, and then a different shade of silver. Or he's got yellow eyes and a silver face. So that's very, very nice. Very nice. And robot mode, the only complaint I have is the fact that he's a tiny bit of a parts former. Sorry, I had to do something behind camera, messing with another Transformer. But, you know, he's a tiny bit of a parts former because of this, and, you know, I just kind of wish they would have given him a joint, but I won't even retract that from him, because other than that, he has literally no kibble, no backpack. The only kibble that he has is his stupid pieces down here, but, you know, and the fact that the gun is deciding to pop out even more than usual in the review. But, you know, it's a fantastic figure. I know why people don't like him. I know people are extremely disappointed that he's not Ironhide, that we probably won't see an Ironhide in stateside, unless it's probably a Beast Hunter, and the Beast Hunter figures so far look as good as Armada's Hotshot. To throw a TJ Omega reference. I've been watching a lot of his reviews recently. But it's about as good as Armada Hotshot. You know, Predaking is the only decent looking one, and I'll only pick him up because unless we start seeing pictures of the Weaponizer soon, because the deluxes don't look that good. I will get Laserbeak, but I might regret it because he looks like I'm a freaking Fisher-Price or Mattel toy, and I'm not saying anything against them, but you know, it just doesn't look like Hasbro's kind of stuff. Some of the figures don't look bad because they're all decked out in weapons, but Soundwave's colors are terrible, and a lot of other things just look terrible. So I really hope we see Ironhide stateside before, during the Beast Hunters line, but if he's going to be decked out, make it look good. So, articulation-wise, he's a little hindered at the shoulder because of these pieces here, but they are ball joints. He has ball-jointed elbows, no wrist articulation due to his transformation. He has a ball joint at the head, but because of his, like, neck brace, as I like to call it, although it's clearly not that, it really detracts from that movement. He has ball-jointed hips, but they're very tight ball joints. See, the knee joint is so much looser than the thing I have to than the hip joint. I have to grab it up at the actual hip for it to move. Like, as you can see there, that it has, you know, the knee joint has a has the swivel at the right below the hips, and they have ball jointed feet due to the transformation. So overall, very nice figure. Out of 10, I would have to give him an 8, because obviously it was meant to be Ironhide. He doesn't really resemble Kup. He has Ironhide's weapons, but he still has no backpack. He's still a great figure, and his price also detracts from the actual amount of the figure, how much I like it, because I'm sorry, but these figures are not worth $15. I mean, sure, I'm going to pay the $15 because there's some really good Prime figures, but I don't like doing it. Because a couple of years ago they were $9.99, but I know you can't continue charging that, but I'll pay $12. That's fine, but I don't want to pay $15. So, oh well. But here you guys have it: the Transformers Prime Deluxe Class Seargent Kup. I was going to try to put him in a pose to end the review, but that's not going to work. So there you have him, Seargent Kup.